I got spurred on by this idea that more and more images are taking on a different role within the narrative of the museum, whether that is how the public are taking their own images and using their own image taking as part of their experience, or how performance or any work that's being kind of shown in that space is being affected by how images of that work are being circulated and therefore becoming a kind of further life or multiple lives of the work that's on exhibition. So I started to think about, instead of that being a kind of collateral aspect of museum practice in the 21st century, how could I make that the central kind of challenge or entanglement of this work? One aspect that I've been interested in the physicality in my work is taking on qualities within the body that are kind of digital or almost animatronic. I find that very intriguing and captivating, and I'm always looking for how my work can relate to the conditions of this moment. If our world is becoming more and more augmented by, let's say, digital parameters, how can I bring that into an articulation of embodiment? One material that we're working on is the action of taking a picture using a phone, and what is the kind of gestural behavior of that. And we are kind of extending and amplifying and in a way making it more abstract, making it a dance vocabulary. I often will start with everyone just in their own bubble, trying it for themselves. It'll be an idea that can come with a lot of individual interpretation. So we go through this process of kind of watching and integrating, and then the more that I travel down the pathway of that specific idea, I hone it, and I bring in strict parameters. Okay, you can do this like this, within this trajectory of space, within this kind of timing, within this dynamic. When you step into the theater to see a work for the stage, it's an immersive experience, much like cinema. And I think the museum is very different in that it's a kind of all-seeing environment. Also, as a viewer, you navigate your own viewership. So you are free to move and to pay attention to what you want to pay attention to. Quite early on in the process, I decided that if this work was really preoccupied with imaging in and of the museum, it would be interesting and also spatially dynamic to create a kind of maquette of the museum as a scenography. I've worked with Dennis Seltek, who's an architect here in Sydney, and we've devised these 8 partitions that, let's say, reproduce visual aspects of the museum. I decided to invite Dion Lee to do the costumes with me because there's a sensibility in Dion's work that feels quite digital. There are these cutaways or incisions or apertures that almost feel like that they've come from not an organic intuition, but some kind of mechanistic logic. I'm working with Stefan Martin, who's a sound producer in Berlin, in keeping with how the performative registers will be changing. I'm also looking for a lot of different sound worlds to be able to move from one kind of atmosphere to another. This work, as it's unfolding in the process, is going to consist of a lot of different performative registers. Some might be more kind of abstract, others more relational. It's going to kind of run the whole gamut.